like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GTV Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Cricket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth on LDBC. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yeah, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, man. Y'all press 1 if y'all can hear me in the comments, man. Got a mic check. 1 2 1 2. Salute to everybody, man. Y'all press 1 if you guys can hear me in the comments, man. I got a mic check, man. Unbelievable stuff I got for y'all right now. I did not think I was coming back this quick with another video, man. But man, bro, Gene Deal, bro. Shout out to Art of Dialogue. Salute to Gene Deal. Gene Deal did an interview on the Art of Dialogue. Y'all can go check it out today. This part of the interview came up, and Gene Deal has just revealed an explosive piece of information. Now, I came in here and I told you guys that Sean Diddy Combs and the guy on the left-hand side of his screen, because everybody was asking about the racketeering, and everybody was asking, how can Diddy be charged in a RICO as one man? And I told you guys, a lot of people that was working with Diddy over the years had basically, a lot of people who have worked with Diddy over the years had basically, turned around and testifying against him. And one of the names that is on that list that was in the paperwork was the guy you see on the left-hand side of your screen. And I told y'all about him the other day. His name is James Cruz. He is the former president of Bad Boy Records, and he stepped down from the presidents of Bad Boy Record in 2018. But now, Big Gene on the Art of Dialogue has revealed that the man on the right-hand side of your screen in the picture with Diddy, whose name is Kirk Burroughs, and Kirk Burroughs was from the beginning with Diddy. He was the original president of Bad Boy Records, and I'm gonna let you know what happened with Kirk Burroughs. But Gene Deal just revealed that Kirk Burroughs may testify in this trial against Sean Diddy Combs as well, and that is going to make things. I want to play it for you guys.
Yeah, and I'm glad with that. I'm good with that, bro. I'm good with this nigga losing everything that people help him get, and I'm talking about in our earlier days, having to be at clubs, having to be at places, making sure we risking our lives, people risking their lives, people doing things to make sure that he's all right, that he's good. I'm good with Big, Wolf, Craig Mack, all the people that he did wrong, getting some kind of justice behind his nigga having to face what he got to face now. And for all you crab ass.
Now, I want y'all to hear what he says, because he's going to address all of the people he said was talking down on him. And then I want you to hear what he said about the guy who was the former president, the first president of Bad Boy Records, Kirk Burroughs. And Kirk Burroughs has some serious, and do I mean serious, allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. And Kirk Burroughs said he know where. I'm going to tell y'all in a minute for y'all who don't know.
And for all you crab ass mofos that want to talk and say shit about me, what you eat don't make me shit. And I'm good with me. I'm really good with me. I'm good that God had me put my foot on that neck and keep it on there. Now, I'm not responsible for none of this sexual shit that he going through. I was here, brother, to tell you about this character, the principles, how he did people that was close to him that risked their life.
If y'all can hear me in the comments, press 1. Press 1 if everybody can hear me in the comment section. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me in the comments. Press 1 if y'all can hear me. All right, my bad, y'all. I accidentally hit the wrong button. My bad. Accidentally hit the wrong button. I want to show y'all something because Gene Deal dropped the absolute A-bomb on the whole world in this interview with Art of Dialogue. Gene Deal has revealed that Kirk Burroughs, the former president of Bad Boy Records, so these are the two former presidents of Bad Boy Records, are now allegedly set to testify against Diddy. We already knew James Cruz because he's in the paperwork. James Cruz on the left-hand side of your screen. Now, you have, man, bro. Now you have Kirk Burroughs. We'll talk about that in a second, but I want y'all to hear what Gene had to say.
The principles, how he did people that was close to him that risked their life for him. How people came out of their pockets for him to make sure that he was all right when he went through that city college and things like that. I was here to let y'all know he didn't deserve an honorary degree from Howard University. I was here to let y'all know he didn't deserve the key to the city. I was here to let y'all know, to let the people know that all that good son stuff that he tried to portray, he wasn't a good son because he was cussing his mom out, talking all kinds of shit about him. He even said that my mama could put her palms on the floor. What kind of shit is that? That was their relationship, though. Had nothing to do with the Cassie shit. That was after my time. But I let y'all know he wasn't who he said he was. He ain't deserved none of the things that he was given. The key to New York, the key to the city, up out of here. Tried to portray that he grew up in Harlem, but it's not one block that he could go to and hang out in Harlem and say, this was my block I used to hang out on. Now, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I can hang out from 112th Street from 8th Avenue to Lenox Avenue.
Man, this is getting, hold on. You guys, this is getting outright crazy, bro. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in here. Everybody that's coming in here, Gene Deal, man, he dropped one on the whole world today. Man, and I want y'all to hear what he had to say.
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I can hang out on 144th and 8th Avenue. Those are the blocks I hung out on. You couldn't tell that nigga to go to a block, but he claimed he was from Harlem. He used the same game. He used my crew, Slick and the family too. Puff Daddy and the family. He took a lot of shit without paying his dues. And when y'all say that it was dudes that never checked him, he got checked. But he went a whole nother way. He could hide behind the money. He could hide behind the rich and the famous. And not have the dudes who were there. Now y'all finding out it wasn't only Cassie. It was people before Cassie. You got Kirk Burroughs telling his story. Wait till he hit the stands.
Woo! Wait till Kirk Burroughs hit the stand. Man, and if you guys know, Gene just dropped A-bomb on Art of Dialogue, and we got to see if that comes up in the paperwork. Maybe he's later on down the line in this trial. But I'm going to tell y'all something. If they put Kirk Burroughs on the stand, bro, and y'all smash the like button, we should have over 1,500 likes. Do you guys not know what Kirk Burroughs accused Diddy of? Let me refresh you on what Kirk Burroughs, the former president, the first one of Bad Boy Records, he basically said that Diddy stole the company, his percentage from him. He's the one that said Diddy came in with the baseball bat. Kirk Burroughs says that there was workplace sexual coercion. And I believe Kirk Burroughs may be in one of those. Remember I told you guys, the feds, they have the victims and then they have the other side. Well, today, let me give y'all another bombshell that came out today. The feds released today that this trial, they still have 6 more weeks to present their argument. The feds notified the judge today that they still have 6 more weeks of evidence to enter and testimony against Sean Combs. And then they said they will rest their case in 6 weeks and allow Diddy's defense to have their shot. But I told you guys there were a list of victims. And there were a list of other victims who are not being added in this indictment. But what happened was I told y'all that there was the Harvey Weinstein situation in which they allowed people who were not being charged in that current indictment to come and testify against Harvey Weinstein in this other case so that those people would corroborate. They would corroborate all of the other allegations that the actual people who they're charging as victims with Diddy would in this case. Everybody keeps saying, I don't see no evidence. I don't see nothing. You guys are not patient. This trial has 6 more weeks. They're going to show you guys a pattern, to paint a whole picture for y'all. Then they're going to have the doctors come in, the psychiatrists come in. They're going to have all Diddy's co-conspirators come in and snitch on him. And I'm going to tell you something. If they have Kirk Burroughs, which I believe they probably do have, in that list of witnesses that's going to come up there and verify. And basically, Kirk Burroughs said this about Diddy. I want y'all to listen to what Kirk Burroughs said. Kirk Burroughs said that between 92 and 94, when he worked with Diddy, he said that there was workplace sexual coercion and he basically said it was workplace sexual coercion and all kind of stuff going on behind there. I'm just going to leave it like that. He said that Diddy used his position of power to assert the dominance over his employees and business associates through sexual coercion and things like that. He also said that Diddy regularly forced him into situations where he was made to witness Diddy engaging in sexual acts with employees, interns, prospective artists, and parties at the Bad Boy Entertainment office. He also said that Diddy did this because Diddy wanted to like reinforce his control through humiliation and intimidation. All this stuff that these people are going to say is going to go to the what you call corroboration, right? Of what Cassie and all these other people are saying as far as the control and the coercion and the running of what they call a criminal enterprise. Now, Kirk Burrows also said that on multiple occasions he alleged that Diddy summons him through the company intercom system under false pretenses, only for him to walk in on Diddy receiving oral sex or engaging on other lewd acts. He also said that Diddy orchestrated these encounters to psychologically break him down and break down his resistance and establish his submissiveness uh, to him, right? He also said that Diddy frequently made inappropriate, sexually suggestive remarks about his body, implying that compliance with his advances would secure career benefits. This is the same stuff that Lil Rod was saying. If he gets on the stand and say this, he's the ex-president of Bad Boy Records. He also said that Diddy was coerced into staying, that Diddy coerced him into staying in rooms while he engaged in sexual activities with Diddy, insisting that such exposure was a part of the quote-unquote culture of the entertainment industry, and it was required for him to do that to have success in the industry. He also said that, um, if you look at all the lawsuits that's being filed against Diddy, he said that, Diddy, basically people, requiring his staff to watch him engage in sexual activities and or watch him take showers naked as a part of, his disgusting and manipulative grooming tactics. See, that's what they're going to use when they go. I'm telling y'all what they're going to use in the court when they bring this dude up here. They're going to use that to show, and then they're going to bring those doctors in there and those psychologists in there to say, look, this is the type of stuff that was happening. Y'all going to see. I'm telling y'all this. So he also said that Diddy would then escalated this to physical coercion, and he forced him to submit. Now, he said during a business trip in '95, he says that Diddy arranged a meeting at his hotel suite, but upon his arrival, Diddy was naked and basically made him watch him as he jacked off, right? This is all the things that Kirk Burrows said that Diddy forced him to do, right? And Kirk Burrows, the reason why he has such detailed dates, Kirk Burrows, what he did was he kept a journal. And I believe they're going to put that journal into evidence. Kirk Burrows kept a diary. And every single day, Kirk Burrows was secretly writing dates and writing everything that he alleges happened to him on those dates. And we'll talk about that in a second. But Kirk Burrows kept this diary. He kept this journal, I should say, of all this stuff that was happening for years. And he has it like all written out in details, like day by day, all the stuff that was happening to him. He kept that journal. And he actually has pictures of that journal, but he has that journal. Now, he also said that in late '95, that Diddy, at his Midtown apartment, he physically restrained him, preventing him from leaving the apartment by removing his keys, pinning him down onto a bed, and simulating intercourse with him until Diddy ejaculated, right? Now, you've heard about Cassie saying that Diddy, wanted the males, ejaculation on his nipple. That's why I don't understand how these dudes take it up for Diddy, man. I don't understand it, bro. Like, I've never seen nothing like this before, bro. I'm really starting to question how they like real talk. I've never seen nothing like this before. But anyways, he also said that Diddy used to engage in this behavior to demonstrate his power and to ensure that he felt powerless to resist his advances. He also said that in the office, Diddy frequently grabbed him inappropriately. He said Diddy would grab his beefcake, and Diddy would grab him by his ass. That's the same thing that's the same thing that Don Richards said, and Don Richards is going to testify this week. On Monday, Don Richards is going to testify this week on Monday that Diddy would come in and slap her on her ass and say, "Hey, nice ass," and stuff like that while she was getting dressed and stuff like that. And Don Richard, everybody said, why didn't call nobody? Don Richard said she called her father. Her father came to get her when Diddy locked her in the car, took her keys, took her phone, and everything like that. She says when she finally got out, she called her father. Her father came and Diddy threatened her father. That's what she said. So, anyways, though, she also said that, Kirk Burrows also said that Diddy, asked him to hire more homosexual male interns and employees because he believed that they would worship him and succumb to his sexual advances and work without ceasing. He also said that Diddy would engineer situations in which he was placed in compromising positions with third parties, using these incidents to further manipulate and control him. Now, Kirk Burrows also said that Diddy requested that he give him hand jobs, he give him blowjobs, and that he use objects on him uh, in his backside area. If you guys remember, Gene Deal said that Diddy was with him. They went to the store. Diddy bought some butt plugs, and Gene asked him, "Yo, what you buying that for?" And Diddy was like, "Yo, can you let me just do my shopping, man? Leave me alone." Well, Kurt Burrows said that Diddy would make him and force him in the office to do all these sexual favors for him. He also said that Diddy used financial extortion and forced stock transfer. Now he said in '96 that Diddy basically stormed into his office with a baseball bat, accompanied by an in-house counsel by the name of Kenneth Marcellus. Now he says, and Diddy issued him an ultimatum. He says that Diddy told him to sign over your 25% stake in Bad Boy Entertainment or face violent repercussions. Right now, he says that Diddy, viewed his ownership in Bad Boy as a threat and to his, absolute control of the company, and sought to merge his 25% with Diddy's mother's 75% ownership and remove him from the company entirely. So he says that he had no alternative, and then he said he feared the retaliation from Diddy. So he said that he signed away his ownership stake without receiving any financial compensation for that. He also said that Diddy had took active measures to erase his legacy at Bad Boy Entertainment, systematically like removing his name from the company records and public acknowledgments. Now he also said that Diddy, would harass him and blacklisted him after he was terminated from Bad Boy. Now he said in 2001, he says that he had rebuilt his career. He said that he had went on to successfully manage Mary J. Blige out of financial ruin after Diddy robbed her blindly. He said through what he called, certain devilish, demonic accounting tactics. He said, basically, he said that he played a pivotal role in the success of Mary J. Blige's album, No More Drama, and secured her number one hit, Family Affair. Right now, he said that Diddy was enraged by his independence and the fact that he got Mary J. Blige popping again. He said that Diddy used his industry influence to have him abruptly fired. Now, he says that Diddy took this action as retribution for his prior resistance to his abuse and to ensure that he remained professionally dependent on Diddy. Now, he also said in 2002 that Diddy was personally contacting industry executives, warning them against working with him and labeling him as untrustworthy, effectively, he said, cutting off his career prospects. Now, he says that he gives an example. He says that Clive Davis, Roy Lott, Sylvia Rhone, Leo Cohen, and all the individuals that he had been working with prior all turned their backs on him. And he said they allowed Combs to blacklist him. Now, he also says in 2006, he says multiple sources told him that Diddy had used his influence to ensure that no major record labels or management firms would hire him, forcing him into economic instability. He also said that in 2022, that Diddy continued his pattern of interference, contacting his prospective employers in the gaming industry and discouraging them from hiring him, demonstrating that his retaliatory campaign remained ongoing. Now, he says that in 2013 through 2014, there were confrontations and threats at Midtown Manhattan. Now he says that around those years that Diddy was living, or he was living in a welfare hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Unexpectedly, he said he encountered Diddy near his residence in New York. Now he says that he was attempting to get food from a nearby McDonald's. He said he crossed paths with Diddy that day, and that Diddy's security entourage, as they exited the vehicle, near the private entrance, he says that they surrounded him. Now he says he was surrounded by Diddy's security entourage, blocking his movement. Now he says, right, that Paul offered, known as Uncle Paulie, who he says is associate of Diddy, explicitly threatened him, stating that when Diddy was tired of seeing him alive, that his face will be the last one he ever saw. He also said that Diddy proceeded to touch him without his consent. He said Diddy pulled his body, close to him to stimulate him, giving him a bear hug. He said in doing so, Diddy aggressively grabbed him on his ass and violently then shoved him off and shoved him away. He says that also that Diddy orchestrated this encounter as an intimidation tactic to reinforce his continued dominance and control over him, and his ability to exist within the music industry and public sphere. Now, he also said that, that he suffered more physical assault and groping from Diddy in 2019. Now, he said in 2019, he said that he had the misfortune of encountering Diddy and his mother, Janice, at a birthday celebration for Diana Ross. Now he says that when he saw Diddy, he said Diddy aggressively grabbed him, forcefully restrained him in the same fake bear hug that he had did years prior. He said that, as was the case in the 90s and early 2000s, he said Diddy seized the opportunity to degrade him by grabbing him close, slapping him on his ass, and daring him to do something about it. Now he also said that Diddy then proceeded to grope him in an overt attempt to assert his dominance over him again, humiliating him in front of other people. He said so. He said other people witnessed this. Now, he also said that Diddy engaged in this behavior as a continuation of a long-standing pattern of control and intimidation using physical and sexual aggression to remind him of his power. Now, he also said that Diddy committed multiple crimes of violence motivated by gender, including sexual assault, forcible touching, and coercion. He also said that Diddy subjected him to sexual violence due to his gender, using intimidation and threats to establish dominance. He says that, like, as a direct and proximate result, that he suffered physical, psychological, and financial harm. Now, he also basically spoke about and said that Diddy has a propensity for violence in his history. And he said that Diddy had a documented history of using violence, threats, and coercion to dominate those around him, particularly in the professional and personal relationships. That's why they're going to use, if they put him on the stand, they're going to use all this against Diddy to say this is all the things he did to control and coerce people. And then they're going to bring up all those other people who were with Diddy working with him, and all those other people like James Cruz and all these people who were working with Diddy, David James and all the other, they're going to testify against him and admit to doing those crimes. And that's how they're going to get Diddy on the RICO. I keep telling people this, they don't want to listen. So he said that in or about like 1996, he said that Diddy had a strong disagreement with his friend Miguel. Now, he said that Miguel was later found dead in his office that same year. Now, he says that at the time, Miguel was a rising star in the fashion industry. He said fielding opportunities for many celebrities and, major fashion houses. He said 3 years prior to Miguel's disappearance, upon, what he thought, he says that Diddy orchestrated an assault against the R&B group Jodeci. Now, he says that Diddy hates rejection. He said after the success of Jodeci's first album, on which Diddy remixed the Come Talk to Me and Forever My Lady, he says that Jodeci decided they didn't want to work with Diddy anymore to be their artist and development representative for their second album. Now, he says shortly after the release of their first album, Cry to You, he says from their second album, the members of Jodeci found themselves tied up and abused in their New Jersey homes. He also said that Diddy sent enforcers to brutalize Jodeci due to their decision to, manage their own A&R. Now, he said shortly after that, and after being assaulted, he said Jodeci, this is why he said y'all seen Jodeci. Remember y'all seen KC in the Toss It Up video? Love it when you toss it up. I like it when you get into me. Remember that? So he said after that, he said that Jodeci, they ran the Suge Knight. Now he said they ran the Suge Knight for refuge and to organize their business and rescue them from Uptown Records. Now he says Bad Boy Entertainment and Diddy. Now he says that Suge Knight went to New York, walked into Andre Harrell's office, and compelled him to release Jodeci while running for his life. He said Andre Harrell complied. Now, he also said that, Diddy abused this woman. Now, he says during the 1990s, and somebody said they saw Misa walking in the courthouse on a cane walker. But he says during the 90s, Misa Hilton suffered from Diddy's abuse. Now, he says that he said he personally witnessed Diddy beat up Misa Hilton in the recording studios. And on one occasion, he said he saw Diddy punch her straight in her face, knocking her into a rim of a parked car. So he says Diddy punched Misa in her face and knocked her into the rim of a parked car outside. He says now Misa is the son of his son Justin Combs. Now he also said that Kirk Burrows said that Diddy played a major role. He said Diddy played a role major in the escalating of the East Coast West Coast rivalry and the connection of Tupac Shakur's shooting. Now he says that Diddy harbored a deep jealousy and resentment towards Tupac due to Tupac's rapid rise in the music industry, charismatic persona, and widespread influence. He says that Diddy envied Tupac Shakur's talent, natural ability to captivate audience, and the respect he commanded from both the East and the West Coast artists. Now, he says Shakur, Tupac had a real swag, in a smooth way with the ladies, and Diddy was very envious of that. He says that Tupac's association with Bad Boy Records' former affiliates in the industry executives made Diddy feel real insecure about his own stature in the hip hop world. Now, Kirk Burrows went on to say that Diddy became increasingly obsessed with Tupac Shakur's growing popularity, perceiving him as a direct threat to his dominance in the music business. Now, he said that Diddy used his influence to orchestrate a smear campaign against Tupac that ended up fueling the East Coast West Coast rivalry to undermine Tupac's credibility in his career. Now, Kirk Burrows also said that he witnessed instances which Diddy expressed paranoia and frustration over Tupac's success, indicating a deep-seated need to diminish Tupac's influence. Now, he says that Diddy allegedly made statements to insiders suggesting that Tupac's presence in the industry threatened his legacy and that leading him to take increasingly aggressive measures to overshadow and eliminate the competition. Now, he says that Diddy unchecked jealousy contributed to reckless decisions and actions that escalated the tensions within the music industry, fostering dangerous work environment for all the artists. Now, Kirk Burrows went on to say that the Quad recording studios thing was an attempted murder, is what Kirk Burrows said. Kirk Burrows said that in '94, Diddy, through an associate, invited Tupac to the Quad Studios recording studios in Midtown New York. Now, uh, he also says, Kirk Burrows says, that Tupac was at the height of his stardom and infamy with two albums, Tupacalypse Now and Strictly for My Niggas, under his belt. Now, he says that he was considered to be rap's most outspoken political pundit and that he had started to rise to fame and venture in the world of acting, as was the case with, Wallace, you know what I'm saying? Now, Biggie, he says that Diddy had no talent and sought desperately to latch on to Tupac's coattails and hope that some of the stardom would rub off on him. Now, he says on the night of November the 30th, 1994, when Pac was leaving the Quad recording studios in Midtown New York City, he says that Tupac was attacked and robbed by three men. He says that Pac was shot 5 times and robbed of $40,000 worth of jewelry. He says that Pac was rushed to Manhattan's Bellevue Hospital and had emergency surgery. Now, he also said that, suspecting that the robbery was a setup from the inside, since nobody knew he would be at the Quad Studios except for Diddy and Diddy's associate. He said that Tupac was immediately furious at the people around him, most notably Sean Diddy Combs, right? So he says that, that in '95, in a Vibe interview, Tupac named Biggie Puffy, and an associate as either having him set up for an attack or knowing it was going to happen and not warning him about it. And he said this ended the relationship between Tupac and Biggie Smalls. Now, he also says that the killing of Tupac Shakur was orchestrated. Now, Kirk says that on September the 7th, 1996, Tupac was shot multiple times in a drive-by in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we all know he lost his life on September the 13th, 1996. Now, he says that he had journals. Now, this is the part that gets crazy. Kirk Burrows says he had journals from the time that Diddy had a phone conversation with a West Coast record label executive and various street gang factions several days prior to Tupac being shot in Las Vegas. Now, he says upon what he recalls that this was fueled by Diddy's jealousy of Tupac and Biggie's budding friendship and their rise in the two hip hop, key hip hop artists in the world at that time. Because he said that Biggie and Pac were friends. Now he says the topic of discussion between the West Coast record label and various street gang factions and Diddy was the East Coast versus the West Coast rivalry. Now he says the week prior to Tupac Vegas shooting, that Diddy rented several vehicles and instructed several men from Harlem to drive those vehicles from New York to Las Vegas. Now he said that he questioned the logic of Diddy's decision, as it would have been more cost effective and efficient to fly those people, because Kirk Burrows said he was the one who set up all of the travel arrangements and everything for Diddy at the company because he was the president at that time. He says that Diddy responded telling him to shut the fuck up and mind his business and do what he says. Now he also said that he proceeded to order the rental vehicles, and he paid each individual a per diem of $150 per day. Now he says that he was directed to pay the driver's hotel stay as well. He says that the men weren't known to him. He says nor were they company employees. He said they were never part of their ventures. And he says, but he was being forced to finance their road trip to Las Vegas with the company's overhead budget. Now he said that Diddy then instructed him to request reimbursement for the rental cars, hotel, and per diem from their parent company at the time, which was Arista Records. He says that Arista Records reimbursed Diddy between $30,000 and $50,000 for that. Now he also said that several years after Tupac was unalived, that Keefe D came out and traveled to New York City and went to Harlem. Now he says that Keefe D was real angry and aggressively sought an immediate meeting with Diddy or anyone else who could get him on tape to confirm that Diddy owed him $1 million and had not paid him. Now he said that Keefe D was expecting a payment of $1 million, which had not been received. Now he says the report suggests the sum was promised as compensation for facilitating the actions that contributed to the unaliving of Tupac Shakur. Now he said when the payment failed to materialize, the tensions escalated between Keefe D and Diddy. Now he says that Keefe D repeatedly demanded his money, expressing growing frustrations over the lack of fulfillment of the alleged deal. Now he says that Diddy paid $1 million to a courier who did not successfully deliver that money to Keefe D, and Diddy refused to pay another $1 million because of that. Now he says the courier orchestrated the events in Las Vegas and failed to pay Keefe D at the time, and he was Diddy's go-to for dealings in the West Coast. Now, he also claimed that Diddy exploited, controlled, and betrayed Biggie Smalls. Now, he says that Biggie Smalls was one of the earliest and most successful artists to sign with Bad Boy Records. Now, he says that under Diddy's management, Biggie became the label's flagship artist, propelling Bad Boy to national prominence. But he said, however, the relationship was far from equal. He said that Diddy exerted immense control over Biggie's career, his finances, and personal decisions. He said that Biggie had grown increasingly frustrated with his financial situation under Bad Boy Records. He also said that despite selling millions of records, he was not receiving his fair share of profits. He said in the months leading up to his murder that Biggie renegotiated his contract with Diddy and secured a majority share of his royalties. Now, he says he also limited his commitment to Bad Boy Entertainment, starting his own label and signing his own artists at the time. He also said that, Diddy perceived Biggie's renegotiation as betrayal. Now, Kirk Burrows also said that Diddy believed that he was Biggie's best friend in reality when Biggie's best friend was D-Rock. Now, he says that Biggie's decision to take control of his career and his earnings deeply angered Diddy, who saw it both as rejection and a direct challenge of his authority. Now, he also said that, as is the case whenever he experiences rejection, Diddy initiates a campaign of retaliation. Now, he says he began to alienate Biggie from key industry connections and used financial leverage to maintain control over Biggie's earnings. Now, he said prior to his trip to Los Angeles on March 1997, Biggie was involved in an automobile accident that left him with a severed leg injury. Now, a severe leg injury. Now, he said that Biggie struggled to walk and expressed strong reservations about traveling to LA, given the heightened tensions following the Tupac murder just months ago. He says that Biggie was supposed to leave Los Angeles on Saturday to fly to London, England for a press tour arranged by him, Clive Davis, and Arista Records. But he said it was a marketing press junket for Biggie's Life After Death album. Now, he says that Diddy was very jealous as he vowed himself as the king of hip hop, although his only accomplishment was an artist being Wallace Wingman. Now, he said that Biggie's injuries and concerns, he says that despite that, Diddy still forced the issue and insisted that Biggie stay in LA. Now, he says while Biggie was en route to the airport, Diddy called him and demanded that Biggie cancel that flight and ordered him to stay for an unscheduled club party that evening instead. Now Kirk Burrows says that him and Biggie pushed back at Diddy, but Diddy was determined to have Biggie make an appearance at the Vibe party that had absolutely nothing to do with him. Now, he said that the decision was highly unconventional and reckless as they had no proper security. And he said the East Coast West Coast rivalry, fueled in part by the discussions and actions of Diddy, a West Coast record label executive, and various street gang factions, had escalated to dangerous levels. Now, he said without security and limited mobility, Biggie was left completely vulnerable in Cali. Now, he says that according to Gene Deal, Diddy's bodyguard at the time, he warned Diddy that he had been informed that it was not safe for any of them to leave the compound they had rented for the weekend. He said that Diddy didn't care. He ignored the warning and insisted that they all went out anyways, and that Diddy was the only person in the entourage that had security detail. Now, he said early the morning on March 9, 1997, Biggie was shot and unalived in a drive-by in LA, and he said Diddy was in a car that was ahead and unscathed. Now, he also said that according to his daily journal, because he said he wrote a daily journal on this, he says that following Biggie's avoidable murder, he said that Diddy did not wait for Biggie's body to get cold before he hightailed out of California. Now, he says, thinking only of himself, Diddy did not even have the decency to wait for Biggie's grieving mother to arrive, as she was still en route on an 8 a.m. flight from John F. Kennedy Airport in New York to see her deceased son. Now, he says that Diddy contacted a longtime fixer and a powerful industry executive that had deep connections, including within law enforcement. And he said that, this man used his influence to help the LAPD police captain to facilitate Diddy discreet escape from Los Angeles. Now, he also said that Diddy was reportedly transported to a private airport via the trunk of a police cruiser and allowing him to leave the city undetected as local gangs were searching downtown LA for Diddy. Now, he says that he was left to organize his own travel back to New York and was responsible for orchestrating the travel arrangements for all the other Bad Boy Entertainment staff. Now, he said the week after Biggie's murder, Diddy launched a public campaign displaying false and performative grief over the loss of his quote-unquote best friend. He said he made grandiose statements about honoring Biggie's legacy and promised to spare to no expense in giving him the funeral fit for a king. He says, however, behind the scenes, Diddy and his lawyer forced him to turn over Biggie's last contract, which had been renegotiated to give Biggie a greater financial independence. He says that Diddy then instructed him to alter that agreement, awarding himself 100% interest in Biggie's works. Now, he said that he refused to comply, but was forced to hand over the original document to Diddy's co-worker. And he says that when the contract was returned, the only parts that remained unchanged were the cover page and the signature page. He said the body of the agreement had been entirely rewritten. And now he also said that if that wasn't bad enough, Kirk Burrows alleged that Diddy charged Biggie's artist expense account the full cost of his funeral, completely reneging on his public statements of generosity. Now, he said rather than covering the funeral expenses as promised, Diddy ensured that Biggie's estate bore the financial burden of his own funeral. And he also said all of Diddy's depraved post-mortem attacks against Biggie's rights and assets ensured that his mother, Valletta Wallace, who RIP to Valletta, she passed away recently, and Biggie's children were robbed of the full value of their inheritance, depriving them from the financial security that Biggie had worked to secure for his family. Now, he said Diddy's exploitation of Biggie did not end there. He said 3 months after Biggie's funeral, Diddy released an album called Puff Daddy and the Family, No Way Out. He said that Diddy's still talentless. He had to rely on the gifts of bad boy artists who had survived to complete that album. Now, he says with Wallace and Shakur out the way, Diddy seized the opportunity to crown himself as the new king of hip hop. Now, he went on to say a couple of weeks later, and less than 4 months after Biggie's funeral, Diddy declared himself the new king of hip hop on the cover of the Rolling Stone magazine. Is what he said that Diddy did. He said that Diddy, right after that, and matter of fact, I can put that on the screen for y'all. He said right after that, he said because he put a picture of that in his what you call, but he said right after that, he alleged that basically 4 months after Biggie had passed away, he said that Diddy basically crowned himself and went to Rolling Stone and crowned himself the new king of hip hop. So I'm gonna show y'all that picture that Kirk Burrows said he the photo of that actual magazine. So this is the photo right here. I'm gonna show you guys of the picture that Kirk Burrows said. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this or not. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But Kirk Burrows basically said that was the picture right there of the cover of the Rolling Stone, where Diddy called himself the new king of hip hop. Right there. Now, he also said that yeah, that's what he said basically. You know what I'm saying? Now, he also added more allegations, uh devastating allegations in this entire situation, but I'm not going to read all those allegations, those other allegations that he has against Diddy. But I'm gonna tell y'all this: if he gets on the stand, which I think he could be in that what you call it, because as I told you guys, there are people. The way this case is going is this, and this is why I told everybody: people need to just sit down and just watch how it play out, because you guys think the feds have, you guys think the feds put their strongest shot out there with Cassie first. That wasn't it. That wasn't like. It's always a surprise in the case. It's always a boom, and the Cassie thing wasn't that. Everybody is saying, "Oh, well, Cassie, Cassie, Cassie." They're they're focused on Cassie. They're forgetting it is 5 victims that have been listed in this case that are being charged. So Cassie is just one of those ones. Then you have all of those other people who are alleged victims of Diddy who are being able to testify. I think it's under Rule 413B or something like that. And that is a rule which I told you guys where there are other victims who will come forward with allegations and evidence against Diddy who will be allowed to testify in trial, but they won't be he won't be charged with that, but they'll use them as corroboration to all the victims that they are charging Diddy with crimes with. So that's why when I told y'all if you guys read that paperwork, in that paperwork, Diddy's lawyers were arguing against this. Now, in that paperwork, Diddy's lawyers came and put out this response. Now, if you remember, in this response, Diddy's lawyers wanted Judge Submaranian, who's the judge of this case, to throw out all that evidence and to not allow those guys to testify, those other victims and witnesses to testify. Now, if you watch and you see right there on the screen, you will see that it says victim one. That's a whole different victim right there. Now, this is Diddy's lawyers and the paperwork that they filed, and they wanted the judge. You can see this date was way before this case started, but they filed this paperwork and they gave reasons why they wanted all these victims to not be able to testify in this case. And as you can see, that's the second page where it says victim two. And y'all can see they struck out victim two. Excuse me, no, they didn't strike out victim two. They put this on victim two. So they say victim two was a minor, right? And they redacted all those wordings from that, right? So that's why I told you guys Diddy has real problems in this case, because these are all and then you see victim three, victim four, all these other victims right here were people on a list that Diddy's lawyers wanted removed, the evidence not being able to display it in this case. But what happened was the judge rejected that, and the judge have allowed the government to use these people in this case. So the judge, he actually rejected Diddy motion to get these people to not be able to testify. Because if you guys remember, this is the same thing that happened with Harvey Weinstein. When they went and jammed up Harvey Weinstein, I don't know if you guys remember the Harvey Weinstein case. The first time when they went at Harvey Weinstein had a couple of accusers that were being charged in the case, right? So, but outside of those accusers that were being charged in the case, Harvey Weinstein also had a rack of people who had allegations and evidence against him that helped get him convicted, because they used those people to corroborate the people who they were actually charging. So when you see all these people that's coming up that they're actually charging, which is like 5 people that they're actually charging against Diddy, 5 victims, they're going to be like multiple more people that's going to go up there, testify, who are not being charged in this case. But what they're going to do is their allegations are going to corroborate things that these other people are saying, because they're going to come up there and say they had the same thing happen to them. So this is all in the paperwork. And this wasn't something the government brought up. I try to tell people, like, people wonder why I was going so hard on this. This is stuff that Diddy's lawyers brought up. If you look at this paperwork, I never got rid of it. That's Diddy's lawyers writing the government. You can see it right there. That's from Shapiro. That's Diddy's lawyers. As you read the first paragraph, on behalf of Sean Combs. So Diddy's lawyers wrote this stuff. I just blew it up and showed y'all right there. But Diddy's lawyers wrote this. And they were very upset that this was going to be allowed in court. And I told y'all this, but people don't really understand because they don't really take time. We live in a world where everybody want to rush things, right? We live in a world where everybody want to rush stuff, and people don't really take time to read paperwork and understand things. So what I told you guys is the feds are only getting warmed up. Everybody was aiming at Cassie. Cassie is not even the biggest thing. To me, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The biggest things in this case, to me, is those 2 dudes on your screen. Those are the 2 former ex-presidents of Bad Boy Records. Those guys. And also, this guy right here. Those are the most dangerous people in this case. Those are the most dangerous people in this case. Now, why do I say him, Jonathan Oddie? Because his name is on the list. And Jonathan Oddie made some devastating allegations. And not only that, Jonathan Oddie has the paperwork to prove it. So when they bring Jonathan Oddie up there and they have Jonathan Oddie testify, they can't say, oh, he's lying about this, because they signed an NDA, they signed a settlement, and he signed an NDA. But the problem is that NDAs don't work for crimes. Now, if you guys don't remember what happened with Oddie, what happened with Jonathan Oddie was, Oddie basically, and Cassie said this during the trial, Cassie said that she had suspected that Adi was videoing them. And she says she told Diddy, yo, I think he's recording us. Go back and look at the evidence that was entered in the trial. So Cassie says she told Diddy, yo, I think this dude is recording us. And Adi, he later admitted that he did record them. And Adi said in the interview that he just did this past week on News Nation, he said that what happened is that he was afraid because Cassie was blacking out. Like he said a couple of times, Diddy was just like panicking, like going crazy. He said he thought Cassie was gonna die just from the usage and stuff like that they was doing in there. And he said that what he did was he said that he went and got a spy. He went to a spy store and he said that he bought a private a spy cam, and he said he went in the room and put the spy cam that you couldn't see. It's like an object, but it's a camera. If you guys ever watched a movie, if you ever watched a movie with Chris Rock in New Jack City, Chris Rock had a little spy cam inside his belt. But this dude had a different type of spy cam that you couldn't see, and he put it on the table. And that spy cam also was listening. So it wasn't just watching. Now, he said he got that spy cam transcribed, is what he said he did. He said he went and got that video transcribed. So he claimed that that's why he got the $5 million settlement with Diddy, because Diddy did not want that video to get out. Now, me personally, I believe, and I don't never believe anybody when they say a video, because I believe it's always going to be a copy for insurance purposes. So here's the thing. We're going to find out in this case if he gave the video to the feds. We're going to find out if he gave the video to the feds. Because if he gave that video to the feds, man, so he is set up to come in this case. That's why I keep trying to tell y'all. Everybody keeps talking about Cassie. It ain't just Cassie. It's all the other people. All the pieces fit. Then you have this guy right here, David James. He was a part of Diddy's inner circle. He worked with Bad Boy. He worked with Diddy. This man even had videos online working with Diddy, right? And he had a video online, you understand what I'm saying, that everybody's watching now. He's going to be testifying this week. Now, this guy allegedly was one of the guys who is being accused of helping set up the free calls with Diddy and helping monitor and track the location of Cassie. This is all the stuff they're going to use in court. People keep saying, I don't see this, I don't see this. My people are lost every day from a lack of education and reading. If you don't read the paperwork, if you're not reading all this court pretrial paperwork, you really can't talk because you don't know what the hell is going on. The reason why a lot of us who's talking like this know so much is because we took time to read all those 50, 60, 70 page documents that were pretrial documents. It says it all right here in the paperwork. Like, Diddy's lucky that this is a jury trial and not a judge. This judge would have found Diddy guilty and gave his ass life. That's why I told y'all, if Diddy gets found guilty, this judge is going to give him life. How do I know that? Because look right here. Look what the judge wrote about the different victims. For victim 4, that's in the yellow part, look what the judge wrote in contesting to Diddy's lawyers. He wrote victim 4's allegations, and we haven't even got to victim 2. He said victim 4's allegations were corroborated by phone records. This is all the stuff people don't even know about. People just run around YouTube running their mouth. They ain't even read the paperwork. The judge has already told y'all. He said victim 4's allegations against Diddy were corroborated by phone records. He said on the day that Combs Associates, including a producer number 3, some producer that's going to come up, allegedly tried to silence her after the assault. So this is all the stuff that they're not reading that's going to come up. Then that's all redacted right there. So forget Cassie. Everybody keep talking about Cassie. You need to forget Cassie. Y'all need to be thinking about all these other victims. It says the evidence enhances. This is what the judge said. The judge wrote this. He said the evidence enhances victim 4's credibility and at the very minimum provides enough for probable cause of, and then he blacked that part out because you're going to hear that in the trial. So again, it's going to be hell. It's one thing trying to get past Cassie, but then to get past victim 2, to get past victim 3, to get past victim 4, to get past victim 5. That's when all this stuff's going, because it's going to be like, it's going to be, so everybody's lying against Diddy. Then to get past all the people that have snitched on this inner circle, everybody says, oh, where's all this codees? They all snitched. How you going to get past inner circle number 1? How you going to get past inner circle number 2? Look what else the judge wrote in here. The judge wrote so much stuff in here, it's crazy. Look what the judge wrote about victim 3. It's right there on your screen. But people don't read. These people come in here and want to argue with niggas, and they ain't even read the paperwork. The judge says victim 3, Combs, argues that the warrant affidavits, which stated that Combs blank, 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 excluded her blank, blank, blank. She said that she was blanked and that Combs blank, blank, blank. But if the affidavits had included all of victim 3's public statements, they would have also included a public interview in which blank, 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 blank. It also goes on to say, nor do a few positive statements undo. So the judge is saying, whatever she said, a few positive statements about Diddy in the media or whatever doesn't undo the probable cause analysis when the affidavits recount how affidavits. That means these people gave sworn testimony against Diddy. That means that if you once you give a sworn affidavit against Diddy, that's under the penalty of perjury on earth in the courts. So now, if you go into court and lie, or you try and duck the smoke, now you're in trouble with the law. It says it blanked all of it out, and it says in another incident, blank that all out, and then it says this is clearly sufficient to establish that Combs used force and coercion. Everybody keep talking about Cassie. Y'all niggas need to be looking at these other victims. That's what y'all need to be looking at. The judge said this. Read the last line. The judge said this is clearly sufficient to establish that Combs used force and coercion. If this was the judge telling y'all he already found Diddy guilty. We wouldn't even have to have court. Because you guys have to remember, the judge has seen most of the evidence anyways. But the problem is that what it is, I ain't gonna say the problem, but the thing is, it's the jury that decides. So the judge is only gonna sit up there and proceed over this and let you know if this is gonna be admitted, or this is gonna be admitted, or this ain't gonna be admitted into court. Also, you have this. The Cassie situation. Now look at what the judge said about Cassie. And I told you guys this. The judge says Cassie, as the evidence in victim 1 civil suit. Now I want everybody to look at this. This is why I keep trying to tell people this was put out before the trial started. Diddy's trial started on the 12th. This was put out on the 9th. All this paperwork was coming out before the trial. People didn't read this stuff. So it's a lot of stuff y'all ain't even seeing in the media that's been entered into evidence. Text messages, phone records, all this stuff that they're not even telling y'all. Because y'all not able to watch this stuff. You're only getting transcript. You're not only getting part of the story. But if you read the paperwork, now the paperwork fills in the gap. That's why these people run around here acting all fool. They don't even read the paperwork. Look what the judge said about Cassie. He said, as to the evidence of victim 1, who we all know is Cassie, civil suit against Diddy, the affidavits already include this information. He says, and it blanks it out, he says that while the affidavits don't reveal that Combs eventually, and we know what that part says, paid $20 million to resolve the case, right? To resolve the case. Excuse me, Anonymous 3, you said I'm reading a bunch of papers. Look, Janet Jackass, I'm reading the paperwork from Diddy's lawyers, you dumb son of a snitch. And the judge, nigga, the fuck is you talking about? I'm reading the paperwork from Diddy's lawyers, you idiot. You're blocked. The hell is wrong with you? I'm reading the paperwork from not from some Tom, Dick, and Harry on YouTube, not from somebody online. I'm reading the paperwork from Diddy's lawyers and from the judge, you big dummy. The judge has seen all this evidence already. That's why he understands what is admissible and is not admissible, you idiot. That's what a judge works for. A judge is the one who looks over that when it's not a trial where the judge is ruling and it's a jury trial. The judge is going to overlook the evidence and say, $50 million bails, and the judge, that's because he's already seen the evidence. But it ain't. So it says on to say, while the affidavits don't reveal, and we now know what he wrote in that blacked out part. He said, while the affidavits don't reveal that Cassie eventually, right? That Combs eventually paid $20 million to resolve the case. It is unclear how blank, 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 the settlement undermines Cassie's credibility. Just the opposite. Having already been paid $20 million, I can read that whole blacked out part for y'all. Being paid $20 million settlement, Cassie, who's victim one, lacked any financial motive to lie. I've been told y'all niggas this. He says, and while Diddy is correct that the information as to a confidential informant, see, this is the part y'all gotta understand. Everybody's saying, oh man, Cassie's just as guilty. They're not saying she ain't. Cassie got a proffer. I've been telling these niggas this from day one. They don't want to listen. Oh man, Ticket Man, you're capping for Cassie. No, I'm not. I'm telling these niggas, I'm waking these niggas, telling them the truth. Read the paperwork. Cassie signed a proffer agreement, nigga. How do I know? It's right here. By contrast, the government provided detailed proffers of each victim's anticipated testimony and corroborating evidence. Why is that? To all the dum-dums running around YouTube saying, oh, well, Cassie need to be exposed to. Because you idiots didn't read the paperwork. Damn near everybody in this case is guilty. Even if you were victim, because the prostitution charges and all those other things, you will be part of that. Because Cassie and them helped get the prostitutes. But the thing is that Cassie, see, so because even when you help get the prostitutes, you are complicit in some criminal activity. Even though she had criminal activity happen against her, she participated in some criminal activity. But for her testimony against Sean Diddy Combs, she would not be prosecuted. She has received a proffer agreement. That's why the judge wrote in the paperwork that while Combs is correct that the information as to a confidential informant's credibility must be considered in a warrant application, the Second Circuit differentiates between professional informants and witnesses like Cassie, who need not be shown to have previously reliable, right? Have been previously reliable before the authorities may rely on their statements. I told y'all, Cassie won the game. The feds came to her and gave her a deal because the feds were going to lock her ass up too. She didn't take the deal. This is the part niggas don't understand. I've been telling them the whole time. They all took the deals and turned on Diddy. I told y'all this. It's in the freaking paper. I've been telling people this from day one. It's right there in the paperwork. Diddy was arguing to the credibility of Cassie because she was an informant. She was a witness, right? A confidential informant, right? But the judge says, hey, you can't argue because what Diddy was arguing, let me break down the paperwork for y'all. What Diddy was arguing is that Cassie's credibility should be brought into question because she sued him for $20 million. The judge says, no, her credibility ain't brought into question because she sues you for $20 million because she already got the money. She ain't got no reason to come lie now. She already got the money. In fact, the point that she is giving all the information, it enhances her credibility against you, nigga. based off all the other information they have collected. That's why it says the second cert differentiates between professional informants and witnesses like victim one, Cassie, who need not be shown to have been previously reliable before the authorities may rely on her statements. Told y'all this. I told y'all this. The niggas coming here acting like I'm trying. Nigga, I told y'all niggas. I've been telling y'all this whole time the feds went and gave Cassie a deal. The feds went right to Cassie and said, look, we know this, we know that. You give us all this, and we're going to go ahead and give you a deal. You walk away free. We want that nigga. Period. And the crazy part about this case is, y'all finna find out everybody else who turned on, did all them people in the circle. So when they talk about, hey man, where's the Rico? Nigga, just chill, nigga. Sit on your high horse, nigga, and chill. You finna find out. Cause them niggas all snitching. Why? Cause when the feds came, they came with all that information. I told y'all this. Read what it says. It says, in addition, this is how y'all know this shit is over with. And I told everybody this. Read the line. Y'all see all those black lines at the bottom of the screen? Read the line on top of that. It says, in addition, other witnesses corroborated Cassie's information. That's why y'all got Kalina on. That's why y'all got Don Richard on the stand right now. Because this week, all these witnesses are going to corroborate Cassie's story. Don Richard, corroborate Cassie. This man right here, on your left-hand side, the former president of Bad Boy, James Cruz, he's going to corroborate Cassie. That's going to destroy Diddy. James Cruz, a former president of Bad Boy Records, he's going to get up there on the stand and say everything Cassie said was true. That we organized criminal activity against her and did all of these racketeering things. He going to get up there and say that. Then what all these niggas going to say then? It's right there in the freaking paperwork, nigga. But this what happens when you ain't on my level talking this shit, nigga. You don't read. It says, in addition, other witnesses corroborated Cassie's information. For example, their affidavits. These people gave sworn affidavits and proffer agreements, so they wouldn't be prosecuted, or they would get lesser charges. And it blacked it all out, and it says they also state that blank, 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 and guess what else is in here, y'all? It says Cassie told doctor number one, so they got a doctor in here, too, that's going to be coming. The doctor's probably coming this week. And then it says it's blanked out, and it says Cassie's own statements to law enforcement. Everybody said, why didn't Cassie go to the cops? Nigga, she did go to the fucking cops, nigga. It's in the paperwork. They got it in evidence. It said that Cassie, read the last line, you dumb son of bitches. It said Cassie's own statements to law enforcement were not the sole basis for probable cause. And remember, Cassie already told you her mom called the cops too on that nigga. That's in court too. But y'all don't listen, and y'all ain't, I got people that's in the goddamn courtroom, nigga. Now try to play keep up with me, nigga, and wonder why I know all this shit, because it's right there in the paperwork. So I want to see where all these niggas' energy at when we get to that on y'all screen right there. When we get to that, now I want to see what they're going to say. And I think I'm going to tell y'all right now. Now that person is not, in my opinion, they're not a youngin' anymore. But I'm going to tell y'all something. I think I know who that person is. I'm not going to say the name. I think I know exactly who that person is. And when y'all, if I'm right, and everybody on YouTube finds out, the whole goddamn on YouTube gonna go crazy. The whole social media gonna go crazy. Because I'm not finna say who it is, who I think it is. But I think I know exactly who it is. And it's not no dude either. I think I know exactly who it is. Now, I don't know if it's two of them. If it's two of them, then I think I know who one of them are. But I'm just telling y'all, man, y'all. So like when they say, "Oh man, you simplificate," no, I'm not. I've already been telling y'all that Cassie is guilty too, but they've all snitched. It's in the paperwork, B. All of them, every last one of them, damn near snitched on Diddy. That's why when niggas say, "Hey man, I think Diddy gonna beat this," beat what? He gonna be in cell 58 beating his jank. Rats. They turn on him. Period. His own inner circle. They was like, yo, I ain't finna do the time, man. The hell with that, bro. I'm not finna do no 10, 15, 20 years of my life fair time. Ain't no way. Why y'all think the feds would bring this case? To waste everybody's time? And the feds just announced today they still got 6 more weeks to just to put out their evidence. 6 more weeks? Crazy work. 6 more weeks, y'all. So think about all them people that's gonna be at there 6 weeks. You probably gonna have Don Richard on Monday, James Cruz on Monday. No, not James Cruz. David James on Monday. James Cruz coming up this week. Man. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'll be honest with y'all. I think that the case is gonna go another 2 and 3 months. Cause I think that Diddy's defense, I think that they're gonna have to go get a lot of character witnesses. And I think they're gonna have to take a different strategy. But I also think that Diddy's team is gonna have to do this. I think that Diddy's team is gonna have to put Diddy on the stand. They talked about it at first. I think they're gonna have to put Diddy on that stand, bro. I think they're gonna have to put him on the stand. They're gonna have to put Diddy on the stand, and the jury's gonna have to see that Diddy, you know, bro, they're gonna have to pull a rabbit. But I'm gonna tell y'all one more thing. And this is the biggest shocker ever. Nobody has said this yet. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. And this has been on my mind the last few days. And I didn't say anything about it on my channel. But I'm gonna tell y'all tonight. And y'all smash the like button. We should have over 4,000 likes. Salute to everybody send the cash out too. I see y'all showing love. Appreciate all y'all. I've been cooking. Y'all know what it is. But let me say this to y'all, right? I think, because remember, the feds can subpoena who they want. They can go get a subpoena if necessary. I don't know if I'd rule it out if they subpoenaed his mom to testify. I'm going to watch the line of questioning this week. I'm going to watch the line of questioning this week. Because remember, when Diddy's lawyers told Cassie's husband to leave the courtroom when they testify, right? Because we may need to call you in this case. Right? I believe that could be a possibility. The witness list for right now, I believe it should be out. I don't know if it's coming out tomorrow. But I think the witness list, I got to find out. I think the witness list is going to come out tomorrow, you guys. The entire witness list. That's what I believe. I believe the entire witness list is coming out tomorrow, you guys. That's what I believe. tomorrow we'll have a better idea of all the people that's testifying in this case. Because Cassie named a lot of names as far as co-conspirators. And you're going to find out soon if those people took a deal with the feds. You're going to find out, right? Man, there's a lot of names in this, y'all. And so, again, everybody has to remember one thing. Diddy wanted this video removed from evidence. There's a reason why. Because it's like Bruce Rivers said, all they need is one time. And they got you. Bruce Rivers, he literally said it today. He said all they need is one instance, just one, of you breaking the law. And you're out of here. Just one. Is what Bruce said. Bruce said all they need is one, as Bruce said. All they need is one. Bruce literally said that. He said all they need is one. And I want y'all to listen to what Bruce said. Because I thought Bruce kind of broke it down very well about the RICO.
I make light of Diddy, but I don't want to make light of what he's being accused of. I just don't trust anymore. That last shot put the nail in the coffin. You took care of me materialistically, not when I needed it, only when I needed you to love me and put me first. You still don't hate him. No, I don't. When you love somebody, you kind of give them a rope, and you let them get away with a lot of things, because you don't want to end the relationship because you love that person. But sometimes you just have to say, see you later. I'm not putting up with this shit any fucking more. A lot of times people will hold something over the other person. And it works for a long time until the person's just had enough of it. And I think that's what happened here with Cassie. He did this to so many fucking people. And for him, it was working. And at some point, people just say, enough's enough. Oh, and there's other news out, I guess. Justin Bieber came up with a statement. I'm not one of his victims. So that's good news, I guess. It was unknown whether or not Bieber had any kind of whatever kind of dealings with the Tootsie Roll or not. You know what I mean by the Tootsie Roll, right? That's what his nickname for his wiener is, because of the size of a Tootsie Roll. If the defense has a bunch of other witnesses that can say, nope, I saw her there and she was enjoying it and she never protested. In fact, she got paid to be there. Blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, here's the thing. He could win one or more of these counts. He's not going to win. If he's having freak-offs and hiring somebody from another state, whether it's consensual or not, that's transportation across state lines for the purpose of a commercial sex act. That is count three.
Count three. I told you guys. They already got him dead to rights on count three. Everybody thought I was joking when I said that. Oh, Ticket, what's count three? What's count three? I'll show you count three. I will show you count three. Oh, Ticket, what's count three, Ticket? That's count three. It's right there on your screen. Count three that Diddy's being charged with is transportation to engage in prostitution. He's already been found guilty of that pretty much in my eyes. And just like Bruce Rivers told you, it says from at least 2009 up until including 2024. When they put up and including 2024, you know what that means? In my opinion, I think that they found that he was intending to do that same thing in New York in that hotel, because they found the $9,000 of cash, they found the drugs, and they found the baby oil in the room. You better believe they went. If there was a worker that was going to come up there, or whoever that girl was in there, and they was finding work, you better believe they went and did their research. And they got Diddy's phone too. That's why they went and picked him up early. Because somebody ratted. Somebody snitched on Diddy in that room. Somebody snitched and told the feds that Diddy had that stuff in his room. That's why they ran down on him early. Diddy was supposed to turn himself in whenever they were ready to turn him in. They went and yanked him up out the blue. Somebody ratted on that dude and said, yo, he got the stuff in the room right now. That's why the special agent went and waved all that money in front of the jury this week. It wasn't Cassie. Somebody said Cassie, duh. No, it wasn't Cassie, duh. Because Cassie wasn't around Diddy when he was in a hotel in New York waiting after the feds raided. She was nowhere around. So you're wrong, duh. It was somebody else. Wasn't Cassie. Somebody else that was right there close to Diddy had to have ratted Diddy out. Whether it was somebody who gave it to him, somebody ratted that nigga out. Because they went and got him early. It wasn't supposed to go get him right there. So somebody ratted that dude out, bro. I'm telling y'all this. So, but it says right there, count 3, that from up until 2024 in the Southern District of New York, see how they put the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, they said that Diddy knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent. They got him, bro. Read what they wrote right there. I believe they're going to put whoever that sex worker was, and if I bet my money, nigga, if I bet my money on that shit, because read what it says. Read what it says closely, right? Read what it says closely, y'all. I want y'all to read what it says. It says, including in or about 2024. 2024 is when Diddy was arrested in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. But it says the defendant knowingly transported an individual interstate and foreign commerce with the intent. So they're saying he intended to have a freak off with a prostitute with the intent that the individual engaged in prostitution. That's why they showed that shit in the court, nigga. When they showed the cash, the drugs, and the baby oil in his room when they went to arrest him. Because they're charging him with the intent. It's right there in the paperwork. So the question is, who was the sex worker? And they probably got that sex worker and they're going to put him on the stand. And he's going to testify that, yeah, I was intended to go and, be in a freak off. This dumbass nigga was going to have a freak off in the hotel after he got raided. He in the hotel right by where the feds at. About to have a freak off. That's why it says, read the words closely. It says intent that the individual engaged in prostitution and attempted, and that lets me know they went and got that person because the feds could have waited and caught him in the act, but they didn't want to take that risk, in my opinion. They didn't want to take that risk, in my opinion. I think they want to get his ass dead. I think they had him dead to rights. They knew something was in that room, and they went and got him. That's exactly what I think happened. So y'all gonna see when this comes up in the next couple of weeks. They're gonna address this. Watch what I tell you. I put everything I love on it. Because when they said up until 2024, I was like, hold on, yeah, they used that because they would not have brought that up in court for no reason. That's why they brought that special agent up there and asked him about that right before Kalina testified. Right? It says with the intent to engage in prostitution and attempted, aided and abetted and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs transported, aided and abetted and willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial sex workers to an interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in prostitution. So when everybody keeps saying, oh, he's going to get off. No, he's not. That's why they're putting him on the stand. And I believe they got a video from him. I believe they got a copy of that video. Think about this. You think that he's gonna give one copy of that video and walk away? Ain't no way in hell. Anybody worth their salt, they're gonna keep a copy and give it to somebody else and say, "Yo, if this happened to me, release that tape and tell everybody what happened." That's why he's here right now, in my opinion. Think about what I said. Listen to what I said. So when Bruce Rivers talks about that, man, he's dead on the money when he says that. Listen to what he said.
I think that's a slam fucking dunk. The guidelines for that aren't quite as high. But the racketeering and the sex trafficking counts, those guidelines are through the roof. And unless they have somebody that can really speak to all these different elements, I don't know how Diddy doesn't testify. I mean, how do you just let one narrative carry the day? Because it ain't enough just to cross-examine somebody and say, "Are you sure you're telling the truth?" Look at this indictment. It's like, what? How many pages? 14-page indictment. One person. Racketeering with one person. Where are the other people? You know, where are the other co-conspirators? They're cooperators. That's who they are.
Told y'all. But these niggas want to argue with me. You got a real criminal lawyer telling y'all that. They're all co-conspirators. They're all cooperating with the government. I told y'all this. I told y'all this. Period. So you're going to see in court. You're going to see in court. And everybody's going to see I was right. And these clowns going to have to say, "Hey, man, they're going to find a new way to hate. Oh, man, come on, Ticket, man. Because, see, I'm going to tell you something, man. See, you was... Nah, nigga, I told you, nigga. I read the paperwork and the evidence. I looked at what the feds were saying they had. And I looked at the actual charges and what they entailed. It's literally, if you read, it's literally right there. Literally right there. Count one. It's literally right there. And everybody says, "Oh, well, he's not being charged for that beating with Cassie." I told y'all he is. It's right there in the indictment under the racketeering. They literally tell you about it. Read the last 4 lines, y'all, 5 lines. It says these assaults were at times witnessed by others, including one instance at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March of 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the security staff member to ensure silence. Nigga, they gonna find this nigga guilty. That's the security guy talking with him right there on video, nigga. Are you crazy? It falls under the RICO. Racketeering, violence, under the RICO. Criminal organization. All of the co-workers and the people that's under him that was doing all of the helping him, snitching. Arson, under the RICO. Kidnapping, under the RICO. Bribery, under the RICO. He tried to bribe the hotel guy. He tried to kidnap Cassie when she tried to leave. He yanked her by her head and tried to keep her in there. Kid Cudi's going to get up there and testify what happened to his car. Man, y'all people crazy as hell. Then you got all them other victims that's going to say all these other things he did to them. Then you got his inner circle coming out, and I've heard they got text messages, all kind of stuff, proving that they were told to set up all these events and help him. And everybody keep talking about Cassie. Y'all niggas crazy as hell. Class dismissed, man. I'll see y'all later. All right, you guys. So we appreciate everybody that popped in, supported this video. Make sure that you guys shop our merch. We got that new A Weapons merchandise right there below this video. All you got to do is look below. The links will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well to get the merch, to donate, support the channel, and subscribe to our podcast show. You'll see all those links pinned at the top of the comment section of this video. And we appreciate everybody that supports this channel and our networks. Also, that straight drop weight loss formula. Go to the website. You guys will see that. A link for that will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Go right there for all of your weight loss needs. Straight drop weight loss formula. We have a lot of testimonials on the website. You can go to www.str-8-drop.com and get you some of the weight loss formula today. Take your weight loss serious. Get in the gym, work out, exercise, and do what you got to do to stay on point. We appreciate everybody that's been locked into this video. Again, all the links are pinned at the top of the comment section below. Salute to all of y'all. And again, we appreciate everybody who support what we doing over here.